invited 4 distinguished residents from Metro Manila, and then let me introduce them to you one by one. First, we have Dr. Mario Zamora. He's a graduate of UST. He took his internship and surgical residency sa UPPGH, and he's currently the chief resident of the Department of Surgery. Next, we have Dr. Anton Recto. Si Dr. Anton graduated from the Ateneo School of Medicine. He is on his third year internal medicine residency, and he is our chief resident here at TMC. And he was also named last year lang Mr. TMC si Anton. And then we have Dr. Joseph Pagio. Si Dr. Joseph finished his intermed program at UPPGH last year. So he's a 2019 graduate. He took the licensure exam last year, and he was the 4th placer sa PLE last year. At present, he works as a primary care physician sa Taguig, but he has plans to go to residency next year. And then finally, we have Dr. Mark Austin Gawaran. Austin is a graduate of BS in Public Health, and he earned his MD degree sa University of the Philippines. And after medical school, he had a short training sa Aerospace Aviation Medicine, which is a joint program ng University of Texas and NASA. He is currently the chief resident of emergency medicine at Makati Medical Center, and he is a self-confessed adrenaline junkie and adventure seeker. So welcome everyone to our panel discussion.
Good morning.
So
good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. So yesterday kasi, we had 3 panelists who are all either chairman of their department or head ng advanced medical education, and they gave their perspective as far as, you know, being the training officer, dealing with residents. So I think today gusto namin marinig yung perspective naman ng mga residents natin. So siguro to start with, I will ask everyone, say a little bit about your program. Magsabi kayo about yourself, about your interest, and bakit pinili natin yung program na yon. Okay, maybe I'll start with Dr. Mario.
Hi, good morning. I'm Mario Zamora. I am currently a 5th year general surgery resident at PGH and also doctor and chief resident. Actually, I became a surgeon because actually family exposure na rin for surgery. My father is a general surgeon. My brother is a general surgeon. My mom is an anesthesiologist. So you can say at early age pa lang, I'm already exposed sa OR. I graduated medicine, as Dr. Jun mentioned earlier, sa University of Santo Tomas. And then I took my internship at PGH and then applied for residency for general surgery also in PGH.
Okay, then let's go to Joseph. Dr. Joseph Pagio.
Hello. Sir. Yeah, so as you mentioned, I graduated from PGH 2019. I'm in my year off technically because I'm preparing for residency in the United States. And I plan to do residency in the US for personal reasons. But for the last 9 months, I've also been a barangay doctor, so a primary care physician in the city of Taguig. So my experience, clinical experience, is basically based in the barangay health centers of Taguig, and I spent 4 months in the greater New York area from March to June during the pandemic of COVID-19 there.
Okay. How about si Dr. Anton naman?
Okay, hi, good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I chose internal medicine, also like Dr. Mario, because my dad is a cardiologist, so I got exposed at a very young age sa hospital, I used to do rounds with him, no, nung bata pa ako. So it was kind of there until eventually I ended up in med school and graduated. And I chose TMC because the medical city. I chose it because one, I did my internship here because of Ateneo School of Medicine and Public Health. May joint program sila na exclusive ang internship namin with the medical city. So I grew to love the culture and the environment here, and I grew to love the consultants here as well. And given the fact that I'm also residing here in Pasig, it was an easy choice for me. So I'm currently on my third year of residency. I just like to correct si Doc Juno. I'm not chief resident, assistant chief resident po ako. But yes, I do some of the paperwork and all the leadership positions and responsibilities as well. And yes, going back to our topic, this year has been a challenging year because of COVID, but we're very happy that we were able to contribute in addressing the pandemic, and hopefully we'll be able to share our experiences with all of you today.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anton. How about si Dr. Austin?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Again, thank you, Dr. Jun, for introducing me. I'm Austin Gawaran from Makati Medical Center, Department of Emergency Medicine. I also graduated from UP College of Medicine, Philippine General Hospital. Pero after that, because I'm not from a family of doctor, I decided to have year off initially. Pero naging 2 years off. I traveled around. So I love to travel. I made a lot of adventures. No, I have a lot of interest. And I think with all the research that I had, emergency medicine is the best fit for me. Ayoko nung ginigising in the middle of the night para lang sa isang call. Gusto ko pag duty ako. Pag umuwi na ako, that's my own time. And that's what Makati Medical Center, Department of Emergency Medicine offers to me. No, it's a right fit for me because number one, the emergency medicine program in Makati Med is the pioneer in the Philippines. Walang ibang other services that stays in the emergency department. So we get to see the variety of cases from surgical, obstetric, pediatric, the usual natin mga critical cases. No? So nandoon lahat yon sa emergency. We get to manage them and usually refer them once they're stable enough na, or if kailangan talagang UOR, then we have to refer them. No? And something I'd want also to share with mga young doctors, since it's a young doctors conference, no? You have to choose. I chose Makati Med kasi because I'm not looking at residency program itself. Hindi matatapos ang buhay natin sa residency program. We have to position ourselves after residency program. So we have to create social networks that will give us opportunity later on. No? So if you want to do emergency medicine, best sa isang pioneer program that has alumni in Bahamas, Singapore, in Australia, in cruise ships. No, we do medical evacuations. No, mga medical chief medical officers ng different companies sa Philippines. So if you like me, na maraming interest, go to emergency medicine. You'll have your time.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Austin. I agree. I think yung emergency medicine allows flexibility in even in medical practice, and if yun yung gusto mo gawin for the rest of your life. Okay, so I think we can go to the next round of questions. So I'm gonna start with si Dr. Mario. Si Dr. Mario and I had a little bit of chat. He graduated from UST, then nag-intern ka sa PGH ng 1 year, and then you applied for surgical residency sa PGH, right? And you did mention to me that the first time you applied, you didn't get accepted. But you persevered, you applied the second time, and then you were finally accepted, and now you're the chief resident. So what lesson did we actually learn from your experience na pwede mong i-share sa mga young doctors natin na sometimes, if it didn't work the first time, maybe try a second time? Dr. Mario?
Yeah, as Dr. Jun said, I applied twice nga sa Department of Surgery. the first year, yung fresh graduate kami, yung fresh board kami, I did not get accepted. So, syempre, striking blow yon sa career natin. So, technically, it's a year off for me because I didn't apply sa any other hospitals. Pero, yun nga, yung batch namin, ang sinasabi namin, it's not year off, it's year on. Nung year na yon, sige, aside from doing mga hobbies, syempre, outing, nag-moonlight ako, syempre. Ayaw nating maging masyadong lax, maging mawala yung practice natin sa hospital. Gusto natin, alam natin pa rin yung kung paano tayo mag-treat ng patients, tumingin ng cases, and moonlighting, it will expose you to many patients nga. Sa moonlighter kasi hindi lang ang hawak mo is yung gusto mo, yung surgery lang ang gusto ko at that time. Pero during that time, syempre na-expose ako sa medicine patients, sa OE patients, sa pedia. Mas na-strengthen sa akin kung ano yung gusto kong i-handle na case. Mas nag-a-assist ako sa OR, as mentioned, yung father ko sa surgeon. So during my year off, nag-a-assist ako sa kanya. Although syempre, it's not paid, it's all for experience. So ang advice ko, if ever, med school grades, they are very important. They are important. Kailangan nyo siyang ayusin, but they are not everything. Okay? If you set a path, hindi mo siya nakuha, you can try again next year or next year. You will know naman na you're nasa correct path if number one, nag-excel ka doon. And number two, syempre, most importantly, if you're happy with it. So the following year, I actually spent the whole year off ko studying for surgery while I'm moonlighting. I retook the entrance examination, repeated the same application steps, applied the following year, and yun nga, swerte na rin, and I got accepted. Pero syempre that time, wag rin natin masyadong ipilit kung ayaw. Wag tayong maging fixed sa isang option. There are many options out there. As mentioned kanina, hindi lang ang excellency nasa isang lugar. Madaming excellency outside of one institution. So, syempre, at that same year din, I actually applied sa other surgical programs. Pero luckily na rin kasi, I got accepted sa PGH. So, right now, I'm currently the chief resident. And maybe ito talaga yung path na talagang destined sa akin.
Congratulations, Dr. Mario, for that. Question ko lang, kasi I actually, I came from UP, nag-PGH, we were exposed how application goes sa PGH residency. Were you under the impression na maybe PGH were prioritizing UP graduates and maybe at that time, maraming nag-apply sa surgery and they filled up all the slots, kaya walang natira for non-UP graduates? Was that your impression when you applied the first time? Dr. Mario?
Hindi natin made-deny yun. Number one, syempre, priority of course ng institution, accepten yung mga graduates nila. Hindi natin matatanggal yun for an institution. As parang ano na rin yun sa kanila loyalty ba? Actually, nung first year na nag-apply na hindi ako na-accept, there was only one non-PGH resident na natanggap. And subspecialty at TCVS residential. And during my time, ako lang rin actually yung non-PGH. Pero wag kayong ma-disheartened na mag-apply even though you're not the graduate dun sa ina-apply niyong institution. Somehow, a consultant will see your potential through sa exam mo, sa application mo, your perseverance, even dun sa pre-residency. Sa pre-residency, equal footing na yan lahat yan kayo back to zero. Even though you're PGH or not, they will assess you from head to toe, lahat ng gagawin yung in and out of the hospital for the whole pre-residency period. So, basta mag-apply lang kayo, it's better than not applying at all. Yun lang yung masasabi ko.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mario. Now I go to Dr. Joseph. Si Joseph finished and graduated last year. I saw his CV, excellent resume. He finished yung licensure exam number 4, and I think he graduated cum laude too, right? Sa UP College of Medicine. Yeah, so yes. Congratulations. And then I know you were planning. You are really planning to apply sa US for an internal medicine residency. Then the pandemic came. And I remember si Joseph was one of our registrants last year sa Young Doctors Care Conference. And I guess nag-attend si Joseph. He wanted to hear about opportunities abroad, and here he is applying for internal medicine residency sa US. Unfortunately, nagkaroon ng problema. We have the pandemic, but I think there's still a way to proceed for next year. Kwentuhan mo naman kami, Joseph.
Okay. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. So when I actually met you last year in dun sa Young Doctors Conference, nagde-decide pa ako whether to take internal medicine residency here first or take it diretso na sa US. The number one reason why and so the end point eventually would be to take residency internal medicine in the US. And tapos there are personal reasons behind that. So the reason I decided to just go into residency immediately is that siguro mga 30% of the programs will immediately screen out applicants who graduated more than a specific amount of time before the application period. And therefore, kung nag-residency ka pa sa Pilipinas muna, that might cause the program to filter you out. Anyway, so come March, I went to the US for the USMLEs. And if you're not familiar, you have to take around 4 exams, and you only have to take the first 3 to apply for residency. When the pandemic came, all of the exams were postponed, especially the practical or OSCE type of exam. And so, long story short, when my exams got canceled and all the flights and borders were closed, I volunteered. I volunteered in one of the hospitals right beside New York, in Hoboken. Tapos, there were really a lot of patients. In that small hospital, which is, I think, a 200 bed hospital, there were 400 COVID patients.
I think, did we just lose Joseph? I think we just lost him. Siguro what I will do is maybe I will ask na lang si Anton, and then let's wait for Joseph to come back. So Anton, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Doc.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So si Anton, as we mentioned, he is assistant chief resident here at the Medical City, and your father is a cardiologist, diba? And then you wanted to be a cardiologist too, right? And then I guess trivia lang kay Anton is he was also named Mr. TMC. So maybe i-discuss mo sa amin your experience as being chosen Mr. TMC, and at the same time growing up in a household na I'm sure there's pressure to follow the footsteps of your dad.
Well, sige, let's try to answer one question at a time. Yung about my childhood, yun nga, you hit it right on the head of the nail, no, Doc, na maraming pressure. I'm a third generation na doctor sa family ko. So my father's grandfather, so my great grandfather, is also a cardiologist, si Dr. Antonio Samia. So he got the pressure. My father got the pressure from him as well, and the influence to be a cardiologist. And then growing up, I had the same experience. So I grew up doing rounds with them, and then eventually just my father. I heard all the stories about the cases that they had to deal with, all the stories of them in training, in residency, and fellowship in cardiology. And I have to say, it really inspired me. No, I'm sure I I'm not alone, that there are a lot of other young doctors and young medical students who have this experience, because nga, yun nga, marami sa atin talagang mga Pinoy na sumusunod talaga sa magulang namin eh. So I'm sure a lot of you can relate, no? But yes, the pressure was there. The pressure was heavy, and I just wanted to um, be like them, but at the same time, I told myself that I know I don't always have to do everything the same way they did. So just some backstory. My great grandfather, Dr. Antonio Same, is from UST, um, and my dad naman is UPPGH. So for whatever reason, things didn't work out, and I didn't end up in either of those schools. And I ended up with my alma mater since grade school. So I've been blue blooded, and thankfully nagkaroon ng med school right when I was about to apply med school. So I ended up there, and I feel like that was meant to be. So yes, I want to be internal medicine doctor and eventually a cardiologist. But I feel like by doing it, by going through Ateneo and then now in TMC, I'm able to do it differently. I'm able to have different perspectives in how I see myself as a doctor, and treat the other doctors around me and treat my patients. No, and and then I guess jumping towards the other question. I think the whole point of the whole Mr. and Miss TMC, yeah, it's a beauty pageant, and I'm sure a lot of other hospitals and medical schools have it. It's common, but I think the whole point of that contest and the whole point of that exercise was to see who among the residents and who among the trainees um, somehow could maximize and imbibe all the mission and vision of what TMC was all about, and what the medical city is stressing towards their residents and their trainees, and towards how they treat their patients. So the motto of the medical city is where patients are partners, where we put the patient at the center of our management, wherein the doctor is never above the patient, it's always at equal ground. And just to recall yung last question ko dun sa yung question and answer portion ng Mr. and Miss TMC, was that what's one word about TMC that you could say encompasses or fully describes what TMC is all about. And I remember my answer to that question was teamwork. So where patients are partners, where the patient is at the center, but actually around that patient is a multidisciplinary team of health professionals. And I think that's what I enjoy most about being a trainee of TMC. That's what I stress all the time whenever I talk about what I do, and what about what the medical city stresses on its residents and its trainees. From the way we talk to our nurses and other medical staff, and how we interact with our patients, and it goes all the way to up towards the consultants and the other multidisciplinary teams. We have this thing in TMC called the MDTC, or the Multidisciplinary Team Conference, where we bring in all the consultants on board for a certain complicated case, and we sit down and meet and discuss the case, and we somehow direct our management to what is best for the patient. So most of the time it's medicine, and then medicine and all the other subspec, my pulmo, my nephro, my cardio, and all of that. And then you bring in ENT, surgery, ortho, depending on how complicated the patient is, even critical care medicine. So we're able to meet, discuss, and find solutions that is best for the patient. Syempre ngayon, Zoom meeting na lang ang mga MDTC namin kasi nga because of the pandemic, but we're still able to accomplish that for our patients. And I think that really encompasses what TMC is all about, and it's really teamwork. for the patient. So that's my experience from pretty much childhood to what I'm experiencing now. So there. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Anton. I think Joseph is back. So for Joseph, are you back? Okay, I think
Yes,
before we
yes.
lost you, you were talking about na yung sa application mo sa well you were in the US yata and then nabutan ka ng COVID pandemic.
Yeah, sir. Your question is specifically about how the pandemic sort of changed the direction of the
Yes,
application.
that's correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, to answer that, long story short, a lot of the exams, the USMLEs were postponed. Tapos, the US really made it a point to accommodate the people who missed their exams by providing four alternatives in their home countries. So instead of taking yung tinasabing OSCE type, pwede na kaming mag-take ng English proficiency test and proof of license to practice medicine in another country, and they will count that as a clinical requirement. Different topic naman, when I was in the US, what happened was, I was there dapat for a rotation at Memorial Sloan Kettering, the cancer center. And then when COVID-19 happened, everything shut down. And my experience was I was volunteering as a research and clinical clinician in this community hospital. And at that time, during March, ang pinakauso was hydroxychloroquine, the interleukin-6 inhibitors. I mean, steroids wasn't even there. So my experience was basically, we got to do research. We conducted several observational studies. And it's amazing kasi my experience was there was so much speed in conducting research. When we submitted the protocol for IRB approval, in a week it was done. Tapos, because it was such a crucial topic, I contacted people, Chris, who was in the previous panel, and basically we got people from Harvard Medical School and MIT involved. And so everyone was collaborating for 3 to 4 months, and that sort of resulted in a lot of papers. And I think yung point ko lang is, if you're the type of person who wants to have a strong career in research, I think the US is very good at that, because I mean, they call it the land of opportunity for a reason. So if you just tell them that you want to do something, you email them, they will actually consider it and sort of give you opportunity to do that. That's not to say that that's not available in the Philippines, because I really don't have much experience doing that in the Philippines. So I can't say that it's not available here, but in the US, that's what happened to me.
Okay. Si Dr. Austin naman. When I actually look at your CV, I was impressed kasi you had a training with NASA post medicine for I think like a few months, and then you are also a self-confessed adrenaline junkie and an adventure seeker. So because this guy is a maverick. So why don't you elaborate on that? Because I think we are all excited what you have to say.
So one of the main reasons why I went to emergency medicine is because I really would want to pursue aerospace and aviation medicine after. It's a fellowship program. May mga countries that offers a fellowship program. One of them is the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston. It's a joint program with NASA in Houston. So it's a Houston Galveston. So nung nandun ako, minsan nasa Galveston, minsan na Houston ako. Ang aerospace medicine, primarily, syempre, mga astronauts yung mga kasama mo, these are patients. Pero, aside from that, it also exposes you to biomedical engineering, which is also one of my passion. No? So, mahilig ako sa mga innovative, mga health innovations, future and healthcare. No? Kasi I think na, as we get to realize now, di ba, like telemedicine was supposed to be 2012, nagpupush na tayo ng telemedicine. But ngayon, may need na, that's why we're trying to do it. Pero we'd want to be one step And I think Filipinos in general would have a good position in that kasi medyo resourceful tayo. Galing tayo sa isang program dati na nung intern ako, wala akong kagamit-gamit, konti lang yung mga gamot ng patients. You really have to maging resourceful ka. So ganun din 'yon. What also gives me the opportunity na mag-take ng yung parang reasons kung bakit ako nag-emergency medicine. One of the questions dun sa chat box that I read is ano bang schedule ng emergency medicine sa Makati Medical Center, no? Ang duty namin 12-hour shift lang, no? So yun yung duty na namin. That's our one-day duty, 12 hours, and then you get to go home, makakatulog ka sa sarili mong bed. You can have your own dinner. Meron kaming sariling time para actually during the duty kailangan namin mag-break, no? So that will have an opportunity to eat, no? To drink, to have a bit of rest, and then go back to duty. And then usually duty kami. So 12 hours, and the next day another 12 hours. And then after that, off ka na. If wala ka namang gagawin sa hospital, there's no academic activity na kailangan, it's your free time. You do whatever you want to do. You get to spend it with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones. You can do it something else. So whatever your interest. You can do research if you want to do research. Aside from that, yung opportunity then a lot of our alumni are actually practicing not as any other practice but as emergency physician, no, consultants na sila sa different countries around the globe. After they graduate, they'll be accepted in different. Of course, they have to take the board exam, but that's it. Parang equivalent lang yung program nung or meron lang mga bridge test para or one year na bridge program for you to practice as a consultant, no. So yun yung mga interest ko. And even now yun din yung pinupursue ko. So we still do a lot of mga innovations in diagnostics and marrying telemedicine with diagnostic examinations. And I also do medical evacuations. Kaya medyo yun yung mga interest natin. Yung emergency medicine, minsan nakaka-turn off lalo na ngayon because it's a pandemic, no? Kami yung frontliners. So kami yung first. But what we get to have is talaga we have to be taken care of by the hospital. So we're being taken care of. Hindi kami nagjo-duty ng walang PPE. That's a big no-no sa hospital namin. We have to be taken care of. Anytime na magkaroon kami ng sakit, we have to have swab, no? All protocols for quarantine. Important yun sa amin. Aside from the fact na yung emergency medicine yun, medyo fast-paced kasi, no? Mabilis. Parang feeling nila, kasi sa ibang hospitals, we get to see it, no? Parang nagtitriage. Pero in reality, that's a specialty, no? It's recognizing what's important and you have to do immediate parang resuscitation pag ganyan. And then, of course, you have to know also the limitation of your yung training mo, no? And so you have to refer then sa other specialties. In Makati Med also, what we want yung meron sa amin are consultants or always be on duty, mga emergency physician, mga emergency department officers namin or consultants. They stay with us 24/7. There will always be at least 2 to 3 consultants who will be on duty with us, at least. So hindi ka mapapabayaan as a resident. No, you'll always have someone na will protect you and train you and further guide you, no. So very hands-on yung emergency medicine, and that's what I like best. So yung sa NASA, plan is after this, no, kasi isa sa mga nakilala ko doon or consultant na siya sa European Space Agency in Germany. Kasama ko siyang nag-train doon sa UTMB NASA program. I'm planning to do pa rin after the pandemic to pursue aerospace and aviation medicine. Baka nga lang sa European Space Agency, hindi ko alam kung si Trump ang manalo maging ano pa rin siya, acceptable sa mga Filipinos like us. Para sa isa kasi it's a federal program Hindi kami ang aerospace sa US it's not hindi siya na-match. It's not for matching. You have to directly apply for the program sa institution kasi konti lang yung nag-offer.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Austin, but I would say go for it. So I think dahil we have limited time, we will go to online questions from our young doctors. Yung first question is for Dr. Mario. What is your opinion on women in surgery? Is it difficult? Dr. Mario?
For women in surgery, actually, before you stepped into med school, ang stigma siguro is pag surgery lalaki. Actually, yung higher batch ko, yung group seniors ko, 7 out of 8 of the general surgeons that
Wow.
graduated are female. Okay? Currently, yung dalawang fellow namin ng colorectal are both female. Hindi na totoo yung pag babae mahirapan makapasok sa surgery, mahirapan siya sa residency, mataas yung quitting rate ng females pag sumali sila sa residency ng surgery. Ibang-iba na siya ngayon. And especially consultants namin, I would say around 50% na rin are females. So mga boss namin actually, mga babae na rin. So I don't think magkaka-problem yung mga gustong mag-surgery na mga babae. It's like equal opportunity na ganyan.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kasi even sa gastroenterology before, most of the gastroenterologists, like, decades ago it was a predominant men's world. Kaya marami na rin, almost 50-50 na rin yung male-female gastrodocs. The next question is for Dr. Austin. What's the duties? I think you already answered this. What's the duty schedule for emergency medicine? Every other day po lang. I think you already answered that, right?
Usually kami 2 days duty, that's 12-hour na duty, then 2 days off. Yun yung namin, usual namin na schedule. So pag off namin, that means 24 hours na walang ka sa hospital. Kung nagkataon na kasi usually 12 hours na AM or 12 hours na PM, no? Pag nagkataon na AM ka nagsimula, tapos the next na pasok mo ay PM pa, so parang duty, off, tapos half day ka pa ulit na off bago ka pa mag-duty sa night. No. So yun yung usual duty schedule namin. If meron lang pag may mga naka-leave lang, no, we have kasi talaga leave. Bawal kami hindi mag-leave. So kailangan namin mag-leave, no. So pag may naka-leave, then sometimes na isa lang yung off duty, parang 36 hours lang yung off mo. But it's just 36 hours of your own time.
How many programs ulit of ER medicine do we have in the Philippines?
There actually po marami nang ngayon na ER program. It's relatively new, no? One of the younger residency program in the country, actually in the whole world. Pero marami na po, no? So Makati Med has, and then there are other private and public hospitals around the country that would offer. Nagkataon po na ang emergency medicine program ng Makati Medical Center is the first, the pioneer, and it's an internationally accredited na program for emergency medicine.
Okay. So I remember kasi kahapon when we have the chairman's panel, si Dr. Maxim Bulan, I think si Dr. Mario probably knows who he is, right? Former president of the Philippine College of Surgeons. And then he was a panelist yesterday, and ang usapan napunta sa bullying. So what Dr. Max said, kung nabubuli ka, hindi ka dapat magsa-surgery. A lot of people actually found that humorous. What is your take on that, Dr. Mario? Kung kung mabubuli ka, wag ka na pumasok na. You're not really meant to be a surgeon. Ano masasabi mo doon?
Bullying naman talaga, sir, actually is not talaga, it's very frowned upon, especially now sa department namin, sir. Of course,
Dr. Mario? Dr. Mario, I think we're having...
minsan kasi, sir, nako-confuse ang senior ba? Sorry. Actually, sir, ang bullying is very frowned upon sa department. Sometimes ako...
Dr. Mario? Dr. Mario?
Confuse ang meaning lang, sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. Answer the question.
Sometimes seniority, sir, is confused with bullying. I think nabasa ko rin kanina what's my opinion on seniority dun sa chat. Meron talagang seniority. I would maka-confirm ko yun. Meron talagang seniority, but it's more of respect. Respect for your seniors, respect for your consultants, your elders. Kasi sila talaga yung mas may experience, may knowledge dun sa case, sa hospital life, and how to be a surgeon. Hindi matatanggal talaga na, of course, we have to follow the leader, but it doesn't mean na kung may nakita kang mali, you'll just turn a blind eye. Hindi ganun yun. Still, teamwork pa rin dapat sa surgery. Hindi talaga mawawala yung seniority. Pero it's not supposed to be a negative thing for surgery, for all residency dapat nga. Not only surgery. I think a properly implemented na parang seniority system is still beneficial because number one, kailangan siya for leadership eh. There should still be respect across all ranks, but not to the point that bullying will happen. So yes, I think personally may seniority, but bullying should not exist in any residency program.
I agree with that. Siguro seniority is means you deserve respect, but it should not be a license for abuse.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
This one from Karen Karaig. Being the first doctor in the family, I do not have anyone to follow their path po. Totally turn what to choose for my residency. What can you advise for us with this kind of dilemma? So maybe let me, siguro I'll let si Joseph answer this question. So si Doktora, she's still confused on what to take. So what advice can you give her in people in this dilemma? Maybe take a year off.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm also the first doctor in the family. So I think the biggest determinant of what made me decide to go into internal medicine was kung ano nagustuhan ko nung internship. So admittedly, internal medicine was the most difficult rotation in internship at PGH, in my opinion, but I also liked it the most. I also liked the subject the most. It was easy for me to study compared to anatomy, surgery, etc. So, tapos, I highly, highly recommend na mag-year off, especially if you're like completely up in the air. Kasi ako, when I took a year off, I got out of the hospital and did primary care. If you do primary care kasi, you sort of see everything. So in primary care, I also do incision and drainage. I also do prenatal. I do pediatric, and of course, I do IM. And you'll sort of get a picture of what real life looks like outside the hospital. So if you're really undecided, you might want to do a year off. And most of my friends who did year offs were sort of more determined to enter the residency that they chose after the year off.
Okay, so I think our next question natin, thank you, Joseph. What are the good qualities you are looking for or would nurture in a junior resident? Sige, bato natin to kay Dr. Austin, since chief resident ka, Austin. Dr. Austin?
Yung we usually get to hear that yung term na trainable, yun lang yung hinahanap natin. Trainable means marunong makinig, no? You get to listen, you get to understand yung mga concepts. Hindi tayo pupasok sa residency kasi alam na natin yung lahat. That's impossible. Wag ka na mag-residency program kung alam mo na yung lahat kasi ano yung point, no? But what you want to do is to have that kind of attitude na you'd want to persevere and then you listen to kung ano yung nangyari and then you read a lot, no? And then yun lang usually more of the trainability of a person.
Okay, do have the next question dito is, hold on. While we're waiting for a question, let me see kung meron tayong mahanap. Okay, next question is, as senior na kayo, how would you stop a junior resident from quitting? O di sila dapat pigilan? So maybe I'll ask si Mario na lang kasi baka maraming magta-try mag-quit sa surgery. Dr. Mario?
Before actually, madami talaga yung mortality rate ng surgery residents. Pero medyo times have changed na rin. As mentioned nga kanina, yung bullying, yung seniority, somehow nag-change na siya eh. Change it a bit for the better naman. Na dati kasi inaasa lahat almost yung trabaho parang sa juniors. Pag may hindi nagawa, kasalanan ng juniors. Ngayon, nag-work na hand in hand. Tinatanggal namin yung system na lahat ng errands, lahat ng responsibilities nasa juniors. Ngayon, may makakita ka even senior resident at team captain gumagawa ng errands sa dati pang first year mo lang makikitang ginagawa. I think teamwork talaga yung yung number one key para ma-decrease yung quitting rate ng mga juniors. And depende rin po, if the resident is sure talaga na parang hindi para sa kanya, pwedeng bigyan ng some time, baka maya maka-adjust pa siya or makita niyang gusto niya talaga yung residency program niya. But if talagang una pilit lang, baka better na he might change na lang yung plan niya, baka mas mag-thrive siya sa ibang career pa.
Okay, thank you. May question dito. May married na po ba? How do you balance family and kids? Sayang, you're all guys kasi there's a problem with women residents. I think Anton raised his hand, so married naman si Anton. So Anton will answer that question.
Yeah, I saw the question in the chat box and I sabi ko, nagpaalam ako, may I answer that question? It's very possible. I'd like to share na I was able to pursue getting married nung second year ako. And I'm very happy about that. And I think it just proves that residency and training shouldn't ever be all about just that. You have lives of your own. You have dreams and aspirations that you want to fulfill aside from career. And I think that's important too. And at the same time, these are the little things, actually it's not little, these are the big things that will help you stay strong emotionally and mentally as you go on through the daily grind of residency. So whatever your passions are, whether it's through a significant other or whether it's through other hobbies, I think you should always be able to find the time to do that as well. And I think you'll always be able to. I guess there are just levels to it. May konting timing lang. Like I had to make sure that I won't get married first year residency kasi yun naman talaga ang pinakamahirap and yun naman talaga ang pinaka-toxic. But I made sure na pag medyo gumaan na second year, I was able to do that, and then now I have an 8-weeker. So yung duty ko after my duty naman ako sa gabi na nag-aalaga ng newborn. So it's very possible. Don't ever think na training will hinder you from doing other things that are supposed to make you happy and that are supposed to fulfill whatever aspirations you have in life. It's really just about timing and being able to be organized and committed to the things that are most important to you. So prioritization and making sure na, okay, this is my time for family and this is my time for work. If you're able to distinguish that, everything should fall into place and you'll be able to get through it.
Thank you, Anton.
Thank you.
I think there was a question about moonlighting. I think yung dito, I think the context here is maybe may mga doctors na who are moonlighting for a few years. Is it time for them to go to residency, even consider residency? So I think si Dr. Mario has this experience, right? Nag-moonlight ka for a year, and then since your heart is really set for surgery, so kaya you applied again. So what are your thoughts for people who are currently moonlighting and siguro they're trying to think, is it too late for me to undergo residency or mag-moonlighting na lang ako forever?
Actually, yung mga nasa moonlighting, they're in the perfect opportunity para mamili. You're exposed sa variety of cases, as mentioned, hindi lang yan surgery, hindi lang medical, pedia, OB. Nandun ka na sa spot na yun eh. Alam mo na kung saan ka mag-excel, alam mo na kung saan ka comfortable i-handle yung case, saan ka magaling. Wag mo siyang i-treat na duty, then may bayad ka, duty, bayad, paulit-ulit na cycle. If you think it that way, masastuck ka talaga doon. Dapat isipin natin, being doctors, walang tigil yung learning natin. Education natin is actually hanggang matapos tayo. Habang nasa moonlighting kayo, take advantage of the opportunity sa cases na nakikita nyo. Find your niche. Dapat malaman mo kung saan ka magta-thrive, and then pursue that after. Don't let yourself get stuck in moonlighting.
And I think, Dr. Mario, you are a perfect example of somebody, you did moonlighting, and sinabi mo, I think you became a better physician after moonlighting before going to surgical residency. So I think the next question is, how do you deal with fatigue or burnout syndromes? Maybe I'll let Dr. Austin answer this question.
Very common ngayon yung burnout or fatigue, do. So, ako personally, I exercise, I work out, natural, ano ko yun, yung natural anti-stress ko ang pag-workout. So, aside from that, no, I get to travel talaga. So, yung minsan nakakapuslit kami kapag off namin sa beach, nearby beaches. Of course, may papaalam ka lang. Pero usually, kaya naman yun gawin, no? And then sometimes, ngayon, pandemic, so we'll have to have good food lang, ganyan, no? But naturally, what we try to tell them is, especially sa department namin, we always take care, no? If there's mga events, lalo na sa ER, minsan very yung life-changing yung mga nangyayari, no? We get to see a lot of people dying, ganyan, no? We always have, number one, a psychiatric support, no? Hindi kami nahihiya na we always get psychiatric support, na, kasi we always have every time na may mga ganyan, nagko-code kami, part yun ng code namin. So at the end, kailangan namin talk about it, no? We have to talk about it, and then we get to share, and then we have, yun nga, professional help, no? That's normal for an emergency medicine doctor to ask for psychiatric support.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Austin. Okay, thank you, Dr. Austin. I think this might be maybe the final question yata from our online viewers. Those who have mental health problems na residents, baka po magbe-breakdown in the middle of an XLab. Any advice? Let me just tell you na kahapon, nag-mention si Dr. Mafi, she mentioned about the Medical City program na we have the mentoring program, and I think it's the first time yata in any residency program na all the residents will have their mentor consultants for advice, pwedeng malapitan. And I'd like to ask si Anton, since he's from Medical City, has this helped having a mentor in your program deal with mental health issues among our residents Medical City?
Yes po, Doc. No, actually, that's one of the good features then of being a trainee in the Medical City is that we have this mentorship and leadership program, no? So we are able to meet with you, our mentors, I think every other month, and then we're able to vent, we're able to talk, we're able to express ourselves that sometimes are not, we're not really able to do all the time because we're so busy with the work. So sometimes pag napupull out kami for mentoring, medyo may konting hinga kami, may konting pahinga, and then we're able to express that. And I think it helps a lot, especially now because of the pandemic. I can share with everyone firsthand na as a third-year resident and as a resident rotating in the ICU, mabigat po talaga yung nangyari sa pandemic. I don't want to be all grim, pero it was really a war zone in the ICU. I'm sure same as well in the ER, pero medyo ibang labanan yung sa ICU kasi lalo na nung first few months, March, April, May, we were really blind, no? So we all had question marks na kami as residents. And then imagine mo pati yung consultants namin, question marks, hindi nila alam ano yung pwede nating gawin para sa patients. So it was getting very depressing. It was getting very sad to see patients go, to see patients parang tinatawid mo lang sila 2 to 3 weeks and then hindi mo talaga sila ma-pull out. But by the help of the psychiatry department and our mentors, we were able to set up programs and set up ways so that residents who are dealing with this medyo extraordinary situation of this pandemic to be able to reach out to them and vent with them. So kahit papano, we're able to see the bright side of things, despite all the patients that have passed or we couldn't save. There are one or two that we're able to extubate and send out of the ICU and send home. May code joy pa kami pag may napapauwi kami na patient na na extubate at na survive COVID. So those are the little things that helped us get through it. So yun, basically, we're very thankful that TMC had this program and had this structure so that we could take care of each other, basically.
Okay, next question is from Carl. Is it advisable to apply for residency training now during this pandemic, especially for internal medicine? Are you still able to handle a wide range of cases? So I think I will give this question to Joseph, because Joseph is in the process of applying for an internal medicine residency. Go, Joseph.
Yeah, I can. I will answer this from my experience in Taguig. So in July, mga 50% of the cases we saw were still COVID in the clinic. Ngayon, siguro mga konti na lang, around 10 to 20%. So the cases are coming back. So if I were you and I were deciding whether I should apply for residency this year, yes. Kasi especially if it's in Metro Manila, mukhang nagiging part of the life na siya. And we can't expect that COVID will go away anytime soon. So if you defer your application for next year, tapos hindi naman magbago, what's the point of deferring? So that's my take on it. I would go to residency na this year, and I think you still will see a wealth of cases if you're decided to go into residency.
Okay, next question, medyo controversial to. Sorry, habulang. How do you deal with abusive consultants? Who's brave to answer that question? Kung wala mag-raise ng hand, tawagin ko lang si Dr. Austin. Dr. Austin.
So luckily, meron ka talaga. Mahirap kasi sabihin yung abusive na term, no? So sometimes talaga different consultants will have different personality. Lalo na kami sa emergency medicine kasi we talk directly to any of the consultants of different fields. No, I get to talk to surgeon consultant. Siyempre iba yung iniisip niya. No, so pag yung IM iba yung iniisip niya, no? May iba tas iba pa yung ugali nila, no? Isipin mo lang gaano kadami yung iisipin mo na ugali. At the end of the day, you stick with the facts, no? You're there as a resident, you train, no? Hindi ka para hindi ka para maging slave nila or whatever. You have to deal with science and medicine. That's at the end of the day, yun naman yung pinangahawakan mo. I'm just fortunate enough that I have consultants na ER consultants mismo that will back me up if merong mag-abuse sa akin na consultant from the other service, no? As long as, of course, they will protect you as much as they can. But of course, you have to have, syempre, tama rin na attitude towards it, no? They're consultants for a fact. They've trained hard, no? They had seen a lot of patients, and you have to respect them in that sense. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't diminish your self-worth and your dignity. You should stay with that. Kasi at the end of the day, yun lang yung meron ka, no? Sa isang residente, minsan parang feeling mo down na down ka. Pero yung self-worth dapat yung hindi mawala. No? So I guess hindi mo kailangan siyang patulan, no? Number one, wag mong papatulan, no? Yung mga abusive na consultants. And there are always, especially now, no? Marami na yung mga authorities, no? You can course it through directly sa amin incident reports, no? We can do direct incident reports for abusive consultants, and the Department of Medical Residency Program namin, doon kino-course towards lahat naman yun. And hindi siya papanigan. As long as meron ka syempre ng mga facts. So, yun.
Okay. I think there was a question and a flash kanina. Ito na. How do you deal with co-residents na may attitude kasi anak ng consultant or malakas? Siguro, I will not give this question sa, yung mga dads are doctors. So, I think, Joseph, you said na you're the first doctor in your family, di ba? So can I give this question to you?
Um, I think hindi lang naman yung mga anak ng consultant or yung malakas yung may attitude. I think it is certainly not a factor. I had great classmates who were children of consultants, so that's number one. Number two, there are people that you have to deal with. Tapos ako, I'm very straightforward. Tapos since the culture is not very confrontational here or magkakadrama, I think you do have to involve your senior in a way if you can't solve it within your own little circle who you're working with. But that's my approach. Hindi pa ako resident, so I don't know what the proper way is for a resident. But that's how I dealt with it as an intern clerk at PGH.
Okay. So we have a message here. Congrats to our residents. You're a hero. Napakahirap ng residency ngayon. So I think, do we still have more questions online? Okay. Doctor, is it true that sometimes there are backer system in applying for residency? Often heard it sa friends. So who wants to take a crack at this question? I think definitely sa medical city, I don't think it's an issue. So could I have siguro Mario or Austin answer this question? Na yung backer system daw, which is causing, may natatanggap dahil sa malakas na backer in residency.
Sige sir, ako muna sasagot. Sa surgery, well, hindi ako natanggap nung first year. Siguro may factor yan, sir. Nung first time na nag-apply ako. But then again, yun nga, kasi priority minsan, more than the graduate, syempre, yung consultants, minsan may factor din talaga yan. Minsan kung sino yung tingin nila na parang potentially good candidate, mas may, mas may say sila, especially for graduates na mas kilala nila. Para bang, syempre mas maganda yun parang sa CV nung nag-a-apply. Meron silang, ayoko naman sabihin na backing, kasi para siyang may masamang connotation eh. But more of recommendation. Of course, syempre yung consultants, alam nila yung hinahanap na ideal sa isang aplikante. So, any good word from them for sure would contribute big factor sa application ng isang mag-a-apply for residency.
Okay, so let's go ahead, Austin. Sorry, go ahead, Austin. Hi, Dr. Anna.
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Yeah, so sa amin, I don't think it should discourage any one of us to apply for a residency program that you really would want to apply for. Hindi yun eh. Kapag nakita nila na you're really persevering, you're worth it, they'll take your chance to train you kahit wala kang backer. Hindi ako naniniwala sa backer system eh, in general. Of course, things will be political, but it can also be to their disadvantage, kung yun yung isipin natin. Kasi kung sometimes, di ba sabi nila, familiarity breeds contempt. Baka masyadong familiar. Then you get to parang microscopic yung tingin doon. Sometimes it's not just about getting in, but the staying power. So gusto natin yung matapos yung residency. It's not just going inside a residency program. Pero before anything else po, I also would want to take yung mga GPs that are practicing as emergency physicians in different ERs in different hospitals in the country. Konti kasing emergency medicine specialists, they have to become frontliners right away, even with their konting training. So that's the reason why baka gusto talaga nila mag-train na as emergency physicians, might as well.
So thank you. So I agree that our residents are the frontliners in healthcare, and you guys are really heroes. What do you say, Dr. Ana? Dr. Ana, I think naka-mute ka.
Nakikinig po ako ng tahimik lang dito, pero I'm so amazed by yung pinag-usapan. Talagang no holds barred. I'd like to thank Dr. Joseph. Talagang nag-experience siya abroad and locally. Also, Dr. Anton, how to balance a family, how to be a chief resident. And thank you sa Medical City. Dr. Mario, talagang I wanted to apply sa surgery pero sa tingin ko sa PGH kahit 5 beses ako mag-apply, hindi ako tatanggapin. Congrats for being from UST and becoming the chief resident. And Dr. Anton, ang galing po ng emergency med. Ito lang sasabihin ko, with you guys as the future of the Philippine medicine, I have no doubt talaga. With all of you being in the future of Philippine medicine, I have no doubt na kahit maubos pa kami lahat ng pandemic, kayang-kaya nyo na po ang health system po ng Pilipinas. I'm so proud of all of you. Varied experiences, varied opinions, but all mahal ang Pilipinas, di po ba? So,
Yes, that's correct.
one sentence lang ha, one sentence. Kasi inuulan tayo, tiga tayo, and it's lunchtime. Okay, baka may rounds pa. One sentence na lang of inspiration. O sige, 1.5.
Okay.
Sige,
Maybe Dr.
Oo.
Mario.
Oo. Sige, Dr. Mario, mauna ka kasi ako talagang frustrated surgeon. Pero talagang kahit 5 times nga ako mag-apply, hindi ako tatanggapin. So, eto na.
One line lang po, never give up. Yun lang po talaga. Very timely
Or
rin
mga
ngayong
1.5. Basta short lang. Talagang
Yeah.
short lang.
Never give up talaga sa dreams nyo, and especially ngayong COVID. Lahat dapat never give up talaga.
Ayan. Okay. Dr. June, pumili ka pa na isa.
Okay, Dr. Anton.
I guess my message to all the young doctors there, especially those who still have yet to choose a residency program and still want to pursue residency, follow your heart. Think of what you're good at. Think of what your country needs, and think of what you enjoy doing. And I think that will help guide you in choosing the right
Ayan.
path.
Well said. Dr. June.
Si Dr. Joseph, future resident.
Ako po, one of the things I live by is done is better than perfect. So a lot of times we sort of stop ourselves because we want to be the best in something, want to go to the best place, want to do the most perfect thing. I think what's important is that you do things goal-oriented and you do it agad and finish it. And you deliver what you wanted to, what you started.
Yan. And last
So,
po,
Dr. Austin.
So ako, happiness is always a choice. So kahit saan ka mapunta, kahit anong program ang piliin mo, you have to choose to be happy every day. Sometimes you think that you'd want to quit, and even now, I feel like there are bad days, no, na gusto ko mag-quit. But at the end of the day, you know, alam mo dapat kung bakit ka nag-start ng residency program at saka naging doktor, no? What we want to do is to take care of our patients, to take care of our family, no, and to serve the country for the betterment of its health.
ayan. So, Dr. June, thank you so much. Kayo pong apat,
you.
you give us so much confidence to the future of Philippine medicine. Salamat po for joining us. We learned so much from you. We hope kahit papano you learn a little from us. Salamat
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys take care.
Thank you.